In this lesson, we focus on a practical demonstration of round trip between DaVinci Resolve and Grass Valley EDIUS Pro. As before, we'll be working with edited content, in other words, with a timeline completed in our nonlinear editor. We are in EDIUS Pro, where we have finalized editing our sample project. Our project resolution is set to HD 1080, and we're using 25 frames per second. We made 2 image adjustments when editing, so we'll keep an eye on how these changes are transferred into DaVinci Resolve. We have flipped this shot horizontally using the mirror effect, and in this one we used 115% zoom, making the image slightly larger. Moving on to the first step of round trip, we continue by exporting the edit list. In EDIUS Pro, we can choose between 2 edit list formats, the older EDL or the more modern AAF format. For our purposes, the AAF list seems a more suitable choice. From the main menu, we select File, Export, and AAF. Choose preset number 4, which suits DaVinci Resolve the best. Save the AAF file. With this preset, EDIUS Pro also creates copies of the source files and stores them in a folder with an identical name as the AAF file. The preset can be modified if we don't wish to make copies. As has been noted, to check the transfer we use a reference video. We therefore export a video preview from the nonlinear editor. A lower quality will suffice. In the main menu, select File and then Export, Print to File. I'll choose, for instance, the QuickTime preset with a standard Grass Valley 8-bit codec. Any format that DaVinci can read will do, of course. It doesn't matter where the reference video is stored, but for easy orientation, I am placing it into the Edit List folder. So, the export from EDIUS Pro is finished, and we can switch to DaVinci Resolve. Here we open the Edit panel. In the Timeline window, we call up the menu with a right click and select the AAF Edit List import. Check the preset parameters. Since a timeline of identical parameters, that is in HD 1080 with 25 frames per second, is preset in our DaVinci Resolve settings, we can leave the automatic timeline setting unchecked. But let's check the automatic import of video files into the media pool, which saves time with otherwise spent doing the import manually. We also want the image size information to be transferred into the timeline. After confirmation, a timeline identical to the one in EDIUS Pro is created in the Edit panel. Let's check whether all has been transferred properly from EDIUS Pro. Again, we'll make use of our reference video, which we first import in the media pool. However, it's crucial to import the reference video properly, since reference videos are not imported the same way as the source material. Already when importing, it must be checked in the menu as Offline Reference. A small label is then attached to the reference video, which lets us recognize all our reference videos in the media pool. Returning to the timeline, we call up the menu with a right click. We link our reference video to the timeline. As we can see, in the right window, the DaVinci timeline, which we had obtained from the EDL list, can be monitored. Switching the button, the reference video is displayed in the left window. Comparing the left and the right windows, we can evaluate differences between the EDIUS Pro and the DaVinci timelines. The first two clips have been transferred correctly. The mirror effect has not transferred properly in the third. Next parts look fine. And the 115% zoom has not transferred correctly either. Next, let's fix the issues we've found. A shot can be flipped horizontally in one of two ways. We can either go to the media pool, locate the shot, and select horizontal flip from the attributes. Now let's first undo the step. And the other option is the color panel. The horizontal and vertical image flip button is located in the sizing window. The image zoom issue can be corrected under Clip Settings in the so-called Inspector. If we remember our zoom's numerical value, we can enter it directly. If we don't remember the exact zoom value, we can again use the color panel and the sizing window. We call up the menu with a right-click and select the offline reference clip as the reference we wish to use. Select the mode of comparison. The most advisable way is to layer the two clips, that is, the DaVinci timeline and the reference video, using the mix mode. Next, we adjust the zoom parameter in the sizing window until the images match. This resolves the last issue, and the DaVinci timeline is identical to the reference video, that is, to our edit in EDIUS Pro. A note regarding reference videos: it may happen that despite doing everything correctly, you will not see anything in the reference window. In such cases, the most frequent reason is an incorrect reference video timecode. If that happens, it can be adjusted under Clip Attributes in the Media pool. We are now ready to begin with color corrections, in other words, with grading using the color panel. I will skip this part here and move ahead to the point when our grading is completed and we're trying to transfer our work back into EDIUS Pro. Let's move to the Delivery panel, switch into Intermediate Settings, and under Easy Setup, leave None unchanged. We set the render to individual source clips. We can set our export to the QuickTime Grass Valley HQX codec, with which it's easy to work in EDIUS Pro. The audio can remain unchecked since we're not using it. Select Render Unique File Names so that each file has its own name. Select the folder where our data will be saved. We select the entire timeline and render the export. When finished, open the Edit panel. We select Export AAF from the menu. I'll save the file into the folder containing graded shots. This completes our work in DaVinci Resolve, and we can move back to our nonlinear editor, EDIUS Pro. Here we select Import Project from the main menu and choose AAF. Now we locate the AAF list we had exported from DaVinci Resolve. After confirmation, the timeline with our graded shots is loaded into EDIUS Pro. This concludes round trip between EDIUS Pro and DaVinci Resolve.